We're live. Welcome to day 3 of Currency Cloud Superhero Spotlight Series. Right now, we're speaking with Aharon Levine, head of payments at Melio. So for folks who are logged in and listening, definitely put questions into the comment field along the way. And be sure to tune in at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock Eastern for more sessions we have going on today. But Aharon, pleasure to have you on. Could you introduce yourself and Melio for our viewers today?
Sure. Thank you for having me, Brady, and good afternoon. Quickly about myself, I'm Aharon Levine. I lead payments such as banking and financial institution relationships at Melio. Thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me on. Melio is a mission-driven business to keep small businesses in business. We focus on helping small businesses pay and get paid while focusing on helping them build out a better cash flow, save time, and keep better control of their business payments.
Yeah, and today, I think we really want to get into what Melio is doing for small businesses, especially in North America here. We hear all the time in the fintech conversations and in the fintech landscape how big check payments still are. How clunky existing small business payments are. And Melio is putting a platform together and distributing it in an effort to kind of disrupt that. So could you talk a little bit about the state of small business payments, maybe compared to larger enterprise payments, where we are today, and some of the challenges that businesses face?
Sure. So maybe start a little bit earlier with checks is a fascinating topic, but mainly asking why small businesses aren't using existing digital tools to pay and get paid. Small businesses, account payable automation solutions have existed for many years now, offering terrific solutions, and many enterprises have digitized their payables and receivables, while small businesses typically aren't using a digital tool to manage their payables nor their receivables. And we were asking ourselves, how come they're not adopting these digital tools to pay and get paid? And if you look at the ecosystem, it seems that account payable automation solutions are offering services to larger enterprises. So if you have many hundreds of thousands of payments a month, it's an incredible value prop to automate that and really save significant costs. And even their name, account payable terminology, targeting at financial experts, CFOs, bookkeepers, and automation solutions are value props for larger enterprises. Who is that small business going to automate? Looking to simplify their workflows, a small business is, on the one hand, with overwhelming solutions that are targeting large enterprises, and on the other hand, the Venmos of the world, which made it super easy to pay and get paid, making it a fun experience, don't include reconciliation, invoicing, and all the business workflows, which are part of the money movement. Because I think for a small business, moving money is a portion or a component of their business relationships with their vendors in a more general manner. And the Venmos of the world, and frankly, the bank's bill pay, were too basic to support the end-to-end workflow a business needs to support its vendor relationships. There's a lot of before and a lot of after. Like an invoice needs to be received, approved, goods and services monitored internally, and then plan the cash flow, pay out, make sure it was paid on time, reconcile those payments, update your books, taxation preparation, and so on and so forth. That whole process makes the payment a piece of the workflow, an important piece, but just a piece of that workflow. And the Venmos and the bank bill pays were just too basic. Realizing that, we looked at the checks. Why are checks so broadly used? And what's fascinating about a check is it's actually a pretty basic but successful payment method. All I need is your name and address, or even just your name, and I can hand off that check or send it to your address. You can then have on a memo or send it with your invoice. You have all the remit data that you need to reconcile that and just deposit that check. Everybody accepts checks. It's a super basic but pretty compelling offering, which has existed for many years. What Melio did is try looking at those checks and building a similar experience. Melio built a complete unilateral solution where you need the very basic information about your vendors to pay and get paid. But we also looked at those businesses and tried helping them focusing on their cash flow and taking control of their payables. We've decoupled the way buyers pay and vendors get paid by offering payors to pay however convenient to them, irrespective of your vendor's acceptance. So even if your vendor only accepts checks, you can still pay by ACH, and Melio will help you fund that payment via ACH and send a check to be cleared by your vendor. And then, of course, help you reconcile and set your books, and we're completely synced with accounting software. So that process can also enable you to use your credit card to fund a payment to your vendor, and Melio can send an ACH or a check to that same vendor. So really helping you decouple those payments are helping businesses pay however convenient to them, better manage their cash flow, yet maintaining that simplicity, which is so well needed in the business ecosystem. No engagement from payees are necessary. You don't need your payee to engage, your vendor to engage in Melio to accept that payment. We can send a check to your vendor. They will receive a regular check, be able to clear that check. We will take on the whole fraud control, clearing processes, reconciliation, and so on and so forth. So looking at the basic of a check, trying to replicate that in a digital ecosystem while adding many functionalities to help small businesses better manage their cash flows, yet still keep their payment preferences of themselves alongside their vendors. We don't want to interfere how businesses do business, but rather enable those functionalities, even though they're archaic and maybe bad habits like checks. There are some basic components there which are successful. We want to maintain them and enable them, not to interfere in your business relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a ton of sense when you take a step back and look at it, right? The paper check might have been the easiest and simplest way to pay someone back when your workflow was paper. Now workflows are being adapted to digital, but the digital payment methods weren't as easy or simple or as streamlined into the workflow. So that makes a ton of sense. And can you talk a little bit, because you guys have both a payables function in your platform as well as a receivables function in your platform. And you're talking about decoupling this relationship between the payer and the payee, right? So how are you designing those workflows on both sides of the platform to accommodate for both types of customer needs?
Yeah, so the basic components of how businesses pay and get paid, how they manage their payment environment, their payment workflows, is something Melio studies daily. We spend hours with our customers. We're building solutions, and our product is completely designed and tailor-made for small businesses, and that's our day-to-day. An interesting piece of that is servicing small businesses is like a hybrid of consumer-focused businesses alongside a B2B business. So very product, self-service product alongside, top-tier servicing, support, and experience for our customers. And that goes to how we build the workflows, the understanding of the small businesses. They're similar but different. So there's acceptance rules of payments, and there's approval processes for payouts. And Melio enabled and continues to enhance its product with day-to-day work streams of our customers. And the basic components of decoupling a payment all still are built in the core infrastructure and are all always offered. So each side of the house can either pay out or request to get paid without needing their counterpart to engage and sign into Melio. We enable that complete workflow to happen on your Melio software without requiring your vendor or your business customer to engage in the system. So each side of the house can pay however convenient to them, while you, our customer, can digitize and build an accounts payable and or accounts receivable solution end to end.
Yeah, and I would imagine that's really impactful for small businesses, right? Because if you're dealing with a large supplier or a large customer, they're going to dictate to the small business how they get paid and how they pay. So the fact that Melio is able to decouple that process, whether it's a small business to small business or a small business to, Fortune 500 company, I can imagine that value that you're bringing into the workflow. So you're starting to work with small businesses in the US. You guys have been in the market for a few years now. And I'd imagine as you get customers onboarded, their payment process, they're adapting to Melio's platform, using your process. What are you seeing in terms of the data of customers requesting to either fund you by ACH and you guys to mail out a check? Is that evolving to more ACH remittances Are you doing more push to cards? Like what are some of the evolution data points as these customers grow with you over time and become more of a digitized payment workflow?
Yeah, so I think great question. And one of the interesting pieces of being both an AP and AR is this incredible network effect. If you look at the P2P apps of the world, they're offering you a great way to pay and get paid, the simplest way to pay and get paid with engaging in their platform. So if you're as a payor and your payee are both on the P2P app, you can very simply pay and get paid. Melio, and that drove significant virality and this incredible network effect. Melio is experiencing a very similar network effect without forcing either party to join the network. So for example, I want to pay you, Brady, my vendor, my fish vendor, just like you mentioned, any vendor. I'll just fund the payment with a credit card, send you a check to your office. You'll receive that check and say, this solution looks great. Maybe I can now get paid faster. And those checks, by the way, with 100% open rates, of course, their money is being sent, are the best marketing material to help you now get paid digitally. So you join to get paid, and one business customer of yours is paying you. Now you requested from another business customer to pay you, and they're seeing Melio for the first time and saying, this is a great solution. Why don't I use this as my general accounts payable experience? And that network effect of payors bringing payees driving more payors is increasing significantly. Another super interesting thing with that check on its way to you, Brady, we're going to send you an email and offer you better ways to get paid. The check is on its way, but if you want to get paid now, you can join Melio and realize those funds sooner. So you, even though you're not a Melio customer, you're getting paid by Melio, you can actively request to join to get paid faster in the easiest way possible for free. You can now receive payments digitally going forward from Melio's network. All its business network, which is growing dramatically, is now going to be able to facilitate those payments in a digital manner. And we're seeing this incredible shift using checks to get rid of checks. Checks are being sent out by mail and emails being distributed. Either you engage through that check, the physical checks comes along as marketing material of joining Melio, but really helping your small business better manage its cash flow going forward. Or that you can just convert that check on its way to a digital ACH or an instant payout via push to card, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting component that makes up Melio's business, right? You have a value proposition to your customer, your first customer, which is we will embed your digital payments in your workflow, simplify things for you, bring all the contextuality that you need right there. But then the value the Melio network provides is a bit more expansive, where you're getting efficiencies around the timing of the payment between buyer and seller. You're enabling, I guess, better cash flow management through that timing. And I think one particular aspect that's really cool about your platform is you enable buyers or payers to pay by credit card, where you're remitting a check or an ACH in real time. So you're effectively enabling buyers to pay by credit card where their vendor might not support it. But I'd imagine that impacts their cash flow and ability to operate as a business, right?
Yes, significantly. To maybe double down on that, many small businesses may not have direct access to lines of credit. It may be too much of a hassle for them to facilitate. A withdrawal process may take 2 or 3 days until they can actually realize those funds. The impactful thing is everyone has, or most of us have, a credit card in our pockets, which we can just use. Most of those credit cards have a significantly higher line than we need on a day-to-day basis, and we can't use it often to pay our business vendors. Leveraging that float alongside some excellent reward programs, a business can really leverage these solutions to better manage their cash flow. Float payments, often there's vendor discounts for paying early, so you can fund the payment with your credit card, receive a vendor discount for paying in early. Both parties have a better cash flow relationship now, and with the simplest usage of a credit card in an environment where card was not accepted earlier. We're unlocking a lot of the value a credit card offers across an ecosystem which typically is not being highly used with credit card payments.
Yeah. I mean, it's just cool to think that both the payer and the payee are seeing improved cash flow, but the timing of the payment is still quicker than a check, right? So it's a really cool aspect to it there.
Another interesting thing about, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Aaron.
An interesting thing about checks is like, there's this crazy number. I mean, some researchers say $7 trillion. Some researchers say, $27 trillion. There are trillions of dollars every year traveling in paper for at least 5 business days in average, and probably more than that, 8 to 10 business days across the US. It's this incredible figure of paper slowing down cash flow for small businesses. We're trying to significantly unlock that. Some of the value we offer is to really just move those papers quickly, right? So faster shipping. But the core value is to help them without interfering with their business preferences, without teaching small businesses what's better for them. In the contrary, enabling whatever they prefer, but yet driving choice to enable a better business experience for you and your vendors, regardless of them joining Melio.
Yeah, and I know Melio is so focused on each individual customer, and that's really the challenge you're solving. But when you talk about at the macro level, these trillions of dollars floating around, waiting to be, a check waiting to be cashed, it's not just cash flow for the businesses involved. That's global working capital, right? At a really high level. So unlocking that, can be beneficial for everybody involved. We have a comment in. Let me try to throw it up on the screen from Kara. Thanks for the question, Kara. How do you think the new capabilities of request for pay, additional reconciliation fields, et cetera, could help Melio and small businesses? When do you think it could become fully adopted and replace checks?
First of all, thank you, Kara. Excellent question. First of all, I think RTP in general is just incredible payment experience, right? So we talked about a push to card earlier. A check can go out. You can engage to that, change that check to a digital payment. If you give your ACH details, not only going forward, you digitize your payment, you can get paid instantly within seconds. And really that friction or that debate becomes so much more valuable and so much stronger should you get paid within seconds. And that value will be driven significantly throughout the Melio payments partnerships. Melio is planning on offering many cash flow products to help businesses maintain their cash flow. And RTP is a strong value prop which will definitely be adopted. For our FP, it does require some back and forth between Melio and your bank. You request for pay, and then you have to go into your bank and engage. So it'll be very interesting to see how that evolves, but it could also significantly impact the timing of money movement, which can then go and support cash flow. What's interesting about what Melio does is we take all those new innovative payment methods, and in the coupling of payment, we offer a lot of these values today. So with many payment methods, or even ACH, it's the same day, but from a check to convert to an ACH without you actually needing to go to your vendor, collect those details, hold those sensitive details with you, we can completely take that burden away from you and yet still convert payments to digital and continue making those better and better down the road. So once we've converted to digital, you can choose to get paid instantly, RTP, for example, or ACH same day. So you can already realize those funds sooner than just waiting for a check.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I guess when we talk about simplifying the workflow, right, that was really Melio's first approach to market is, keeping payments embedded in this really productive workflow that companies have around all that contextuality. Looking ahead for Melio and your customers, I'm curious if you can give us kind of a view into what you see as the next few critical areas for improvement that Melio wants to help small businesses with, whether it's additional financial services that you're going to help embed into those processes today, or just additional, financial workflows in general.
I think it's both in a strong way. Once the payment is so contextual, we can really help with all components of better managing your workflow and making that software a better place for you to manage your businesses in general. And it's a good time to maybe mention that we're seeing this incredible engagement of customers. Many, many, many users use this on a daily basis or weekly basis. We're becoming a critical tool for small businesses, not just an easier way to distribute a check. And that's really when you realize that the payment is contextual to a business workflow, and understanding how we can embrace that and learn more of the workflows and integrate them into our platform, offering more and more workflow components alongside additional payment capabilities. You mentioned RTP earlier, and other other pieces of adding additional functionalities to our platform, alongside financial services as well, to better help small businesses manage their cash flows.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really compelling value proposition. Aaron, it's been great having you on. Thanks for tuning in to everybody out there. Thanks for the questions, Kara. Any last words? How can folks get in touch with you and Melio?
Yeah, just email aharon@melio.com or LinkedIn or whenever convenient. Would love to connect. And thank you very much for having me, Brady. This is a lot of fun and appreciate it.
Absolutely. So folks, tune back in at 2:00 Eastern for another episode of the Spotlight series. Aaron, great having you. Thanks.
Thank you.